My promise to you is not written in the ink of the scribe, for that fades. It is not carved in the stone of the mountain, for that crumbles. It is not whispered on the lips of the prophet, for even the most faithful can mishear. My promise to you is written in the fabric of what you are. Before the first whisper of light tore through the darkness, before the foundations of this world were laid in the fire of nascent stars, I knew you. Not as a possibility, not as a fleeting thought, but as a completed song. I saw the arc of your life, from the first gasp of air in your mother's arms to the last beat of your weary heart, and I saw all the spaces between. I saw the triumphs you would claim as your own, and the failures that would drive you to your knees. And in that moment, before time itself began its measured march, I made my promise to you. It is a promise that has been the silent pulse in the universe since the beginning. It is the reason the rose blooms with such fierce and fragile beauty, knowing it will wither. It is the reason the eagle teaches its young to fly by pushing them from the nest, a terrifying gift of freedom. It is the reason the ocean obeys its boundaries, and the stars hold their courses. It is a promise written in every act of creation, a covenant sealed not in blood, but in the very essence of being. Listen. For in the quiet of your own soul, you have heard it. You have felt it in the joy that steals upon you unawares, in the beauty that brings a sting of tears to your eyes, in the love that makes you feel both utterly vulnerable and impossibly strong. That feeling, that echo, is the memory of the promise I made to you before you were you. My promise to you is this: I will never leave you empty. This is the terror and the ecstasy of your existence. You will hunger, you will thirst, not just for bread and water, but for meaning, for love, for a peace that the world cannot give. You will build empires of achievement, seeking to fill the void with gold and praise, and you will find them to be hollow sepulchres. You will chase the intoxicating rush of passion, seeking to fill the void with another soul, and you will find yourself more alone than before. You will grasp at knowledge, seeking to fill the void with answers, and each answer will only reveal 10 more questions, a ladder reaching into an infinite, unknowable sky. This hunger is not a punishment, it is the promise at work. It is the divine discontent, the homing instinct of a soul that knows it is far from home. The emptiness you feel is the space I have reserved for myself within you. You cannot fill it with anything else because it was made for me, and I promise you I will fill it. Not always in the way you expect, and rarely in the time you demand, but with a certainty that is the bedrock upon which all of reality rests. You will come to the end of yourself. This is not a possibility, it is a certainty. You will face a night so dark, a storm so fierce, a sorrow so profound that all your own strength, all your cleverness, all your carefully constructed philosophies will shatter like glass against a stone. You will be left with nothing but the raw, bleeding core of your being. You will cry out, as I have heard every soul cry out since the first, my God, why have you forsaken me?" In that moment when you are most convinced of your abandonment, you will be closer to me than you have ever been, because in that moment you will finally be empty enough to be filled. The walls you built will be gone, the illusions you clung to will be dust, and in the vast, silent cathedral of your emptiness, my voice, which has been speaking since the beginning, will finally be heard. I do not promise you a life free of pain. Pain is the chisel I use to sculpt your eternal form. I do not promise you a life free of confusion. Confusion is the mist that teaches you to rely on my hand to guide you. I do not promise you a life free of fear. Fear is the shadow that makes you long for the light. What I promise you is this: in the pain, I will be your comfort. In the confusion, I will be your clarity. In the fear, I will be your courage. I will not always calm the storm around you, but I will always calm the storm within you if you let me. I will be the anchor that holds in the deepest ocean, the light that pierces the blackest night, the song that silences the loudest despair. My promise is a fire. It will burn away the dross of your ego, the chaff of your worldly desires, the weeds of your pride. It will hurt, it will consume, but what remains will be pure gold, refined in the flame, reflecting my image, which is the image you are always meant to bear. The gentle rain and the violent quake, this is the landscape of my promise, a world where choice is real, where love is free, and where consequence is absolute. The darkness you witness, the cruelty, the despair, it is not my will, but it is the result of a will turned from me. And even that, in the vast, incomprehensible tapestry of eternity, I weave into the pattern of redemption. I draw straight with crooked lines. I bring honey from the rock. I bring life from the womb of death. Do you see the world? Do you see its beauty and its terror? The lamb and the lion, this is the fear and the trembling. Your choices matter. The pain you cause, the love you withhold, the good you leave undone, these are not swallowed up in a vague cosmic forgiveness. They echo. They shape you. They build walls or they build bridges. But my promise is that even the deepest cut, the most terrible mistake, the most profound failure, is not the end of your story. It can become the first line of a new chapter, a chapter of grace so radical, so undeserved, that it will leave you breathless for all eternity. For I am the God of the impossible. I am the God who speaks and worlds leap into being. I am the God who parts seas and raises the dead. And I am the God who takes a heart, shattered and scattered to the four winds, and gathers every last piece, holding them with infinite tenderness, and breathing into them a new wholeness. A wholeness that is deeper and more beautiful than if the break had never happened. The cracks become the channels through which my light shines brightest. My promise to you is a person. From before the beginning, I knew the cost of your freedom. I knew that the gulf between my perfect holiness and your fractured humanity was an abyss you could never cross. So I prepared a bridge, not of wood or stone, but of flesh and blood, my own. I came to you, not as a king in gleaming armor, but as a child in a draughty cave. I walked among you. I felt the scorch of the sun, the sting of the wind, the ache of weary feet. I knew friendship, and I knew the deeper wound of betrayal. I looked into the eyes of the sick, and felt their sorrow. I looked into the eyes of the sinful, and felt their shame. I knew hunger. I knew thirst. I knew the agony of Gethsemane, where the weight of every choice you would ever make, every sin you would ever commit, every tear you would ever shed, pressed down upon me until I sweated blood, and I cried out to the Father, asking if there was another way. There was not, because my promise to you required the ultimate gift. A shepherd must lay down his life for the sheep. A father must give his last breath for his child. So I stretched out my arms on the hard wood of the cross, and I died. For you. For the person who loves me, and for the person who curses my name, for the saint, and for the sinner, for the one who will spend a lifetime seeking me, and for the one who will reject me with their final breath. My blood was shed for all, a torrent of grace vast enough to wash clean the entire world. In that moment of ultimate darkness, when the sun hid its face and the earth reeled in shock, the promise was sealed. It was not a promise of power, but of sacrifice. Not a promise of domination, but of love. I descended into the very heart of death, into the place of utter silence and separation, the final emptiness. And I filled it. 3 days later, I walked out of the tomb. Death, the final enemy, the ultimate fear that lurks in the shadow of every joy, was defeated. Not avoided, not explained away, but defeated. I broke its power from the inside. I ripped the veil that separated you from me from top to bottom. I opened the way. I became the way. This is the heart of my promise to you. It is not a philosophy to be debated, a set of rules to be followed, or a tribe to be joined. It is a life to be lived. My life, lived in you and through you. I am not asking you to be good. I am not asking you to try harder. I am asking you to be still, to be empty, to stop your frantic striving and your desperate building, and to let me in. To let me live my life through your hands, love through your heart, speak through your voice. To let me be the source, the strength, the song. This is the great exchange. You give me your brokenness, and I give you my wholeness. You give me your sin, and I give you my righteousness. You give me your death, and I give you my life. It is a transaction that defies all logic, a love that beggars all description. It is the promise. So you see, the fear you feel is good. It is the awe of standing at the edge of a vast and magnificent ocean. It is the trembling of a child in the presence of a loving but powerful father. It is the recognition that you are small, and I am immense, that you are temporal, and I am eternal, that you are a creature of dust, and I am the potter who holds the dust in his hands and breathes into it the breath of life. But the fear is not the end. It is the beginning of wisdom. It is the doorway to a love so profound, so perfect, that it will eventually cast out all fear. For perfect love, my love for you, is not a gentle sentiment. It is a consuming fire, a roaring lion, a relentless hunter who will pursue you through every lifetime, through every failure, through every denial, until you finally turn and see that I have been walking behind you all along, carrying you when you could not walk, weeping with you when you could not weep, rejoicing over you with singing. My promise to you is that you are mine, not because of what you have done, but because of who I am. You are the sheep of my pasture, the child of my heart, the beloved of my soul. Before you formed a thought of me, I thought of you. Before you loved me, I loved you. I loved you when you were formless in the void. I loved you when you were lost in the crowd. I love you now, in this very moment, reading these words, with a love that has no beginning and will have no end. It simply is, and because it is, you are. Do not be afraid of the journey ahead. It will be long. It will be hard. There will be days when the sun seems to have abandoned the sky, and the path is lost in brambles. There will be nights when the only sound is the howling of your own doubts. But hold on to the promise. It is a rope thrown to a drowning man. It is a hand reaching into the pit. It is a voice whispering in the whirlwind. I will never leave you. I will never forsake you. I go to prepare a place for you, a dwelling place in the very heart of God, a home where the hunger is finally and forever satisfied, where the thirst is quenched at an everlasting spring, where every tear is wiped away, and where the promise, which was once a whisper in the darkness, becomes a face-to-face reality. You will see me as I am, and in that moment, you will finally see yourself as you were always meant to be, a child of the promise, an heir to the kingdom, a beloved part of the family for whom all of this, the pain and the joy, the fear and the faith, the dying and the rising, was always, only, ever about. This is my promise to you. Hold it close. Let it be your bread in the wilderness and your water in the desert. Let it be the star that guides you home. Let it transform you from one degree of glory to the next, until you shine with the light of the one who loved you before the beginning. For the beginning is now, and the end is only a new beginning, and in the vast, unending story of my love for you, we are just turning the first page. Go now. The world awaits. But remember, you do not go alone. I am with you, I am in you. I am for you. and nothing in all of creation can ever separate you from the love that made the promise and the promise that is love. Forever. The universe is a whisper of my power, a fleeting shadow of my glory. Galaxies spin like dust motes in a sunbeam, and the life of a man is but a vapor that appears for a little time and then vanishes away. You fret about your days, your years, your legacy. You build your towers of Babel, hoping to make a name for yourself before the sands of time bury you. This striving, this anxiety, this fear of being forgotten, it is a chain that binds you to the earth. Look up. Look beyond the canopy of your sky, beyond the tapestry of your night, into the infinite depths of what is. Do you not see? The one who spun those galaxies into being, who holds each star in its place by the sheer force of his will, knows your name, not the name your parents gave you, not the name engraved on your tombstone, but your true name, the one I spoke in the council of eternity before the worlds were made. I have inscribed you on the palms of my hands. Your walls are ever before me. You are not a vapor to me. You are an eternal certainty. My promise is not a wisp of smoke. It is a rock. It is the mountain upon which all reality is founded. The storms of life will beat against it. The earthquakes of your failures will shake it. The floods of doubt will rise against it, but it will not move. It cannot move, for it is anchored not in the shifting sands of your feelings or your works, but in the unchangeable reality of my character. I am who I am. I do not change. Therefore, my promise to you is as certain as my own existence. You ask for signs. You beg for proofs. You want a burning bush, a parting sea, a voice from heaven that silences all your doubts. But you have already been given the greatest sign. You've already been given the ultimate proof. You have the cross, standing stark against the sky of history, a monument to a love that would rather die than live without you. You have the empty tomb, a gaping mouth of victory, shouting into the silence of death that it has been swallowed up in life. What more could I give? I have given you myself. So stop looking for signs in the sky. Stop demanding proofs on your terms. Look instead at the ordinary. Look at the face of a child, full of wonder and trust. Look at the kindness of a stranger, a flicker of my image in a fallen world. Look at the intricate beauty of a single leaf, the mathematical perfection of a snowflake, the impossible faithfulness of the seasons. All of creation is a sign, a constant whispering testament to my power and my care. The very breath in your lungs is a gift, a tiny renewal of the promise with every inhale. My promise is for the here and now. It is not a distant hope, a ticket to be punched at the gates of heaven. It is the bread you will eat today. It is the strength you will need for this hour. It is the wisdom you will need for this decision. I am the God of the present moment. I do not dwell in your past regrets, for they are covered by my blood. I do not dwell in your future anxieties, for they are held in my hands. I dwell in the eternal now, and it is there in the quiet sanctuary of this very instant that I meet with you. Do you have a need? I am your provider. Do you have a fear? I am your protector. Do you have a question? I am your wisdom. Do you have a sorrow? I am your comforter. Do you have a sin? I am your forgiveness. Do you have a death? I am your life. Whatever you lack, I am the answer. Not a doctrine about me, but me, myself, alive and active and present within you. The promise is not that you will receive things from me. The promise is that you will receive me. This is the journey of faith. It is not a leap into the dark, but a step into the light, one step at a time. It is learning to trust the promise when everything around you screams that it is a lie. It is the widow of Zarephath sharing her last handful of flour with a wandering prophet and finding that the jar never runs dry. It is Abraham packing his bags and leaving his homeland for a place he has never seen, because the promiser is trustworthy. It is Peter stepping out of the boat onto the churning waves, his eyes fixed on me, walking where no man had ever walked before. This is what I call you to, a life of impossible, audacious, reckless trust in my promise, a life where you are no longer the hero of your own story, but where I am the hero, and you are the beloved companion, walking with me through a story grander than you could ever imagine or write for yourself. The world will tell you to be self-sufficient, to pull yourself up by your own bootstraps, to be the master of your fate, the captain of your soul. This is the path to exhaustion and despair. It is a cistern you have hewn for yourself that can hold no water. My promise offers you a spring of living water welling up to eternal life. You do not need to carry the weight of the world on your shoulders. You were never meant to. You need only to rest in the one who holds the world in his hands. Come to me, all you who are weary and heavy laden, and I will give you rest. This is the heart of the promise, beating with love for you. Not rest from work, but rest in work. A deep, abiding peace that passes all understanding, a calm in the eye of every storm, a quiet song in the midst of chaos. This rest is found in surrendering your burden to me. It is found in admitting that you cannot, and trusting that I can. It is found in the daily, hourly, moment-by-moment choice to believe that my promise is true, even when everything you feel tells you it is not. Feelings are fickle. They are the weather of your soul, here today and gone tomorrow. Do not build your house on them. Build your house on the rock of my promise. When the winds of doubt howl and the rains of despair beat down, and they will, your house will stand, because it is founded not on the shifting sand of your emotions, but on the unshakable reality of my word. My word is not just ink on a page. It is living and active, sharper than any two-edged sword. It is the bread of life. It is the sword of the Spirit. It is the lamp to your feet and the light to your path. In it you will find the record of my promise, played out in the lives of men and women just like you, who struggled and failed and doubted and rejoiced. Their stories are your story, their God is your God, and their hope is your hope. I am the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. I am the God of Sarah, Rachel, and Ruth. I am the God of David the adulterer, Peter the denier, Paul the persecutor. I am the God of the flawed, the broken, the failed. I am the God who takes the weak things of the world to shame the strong, the foolish things to confound the wise. I do not call the qualified, I qualify the called. If you are feeling unworthy, unusable, too broken, too sinful, too far gone, then you are precisely the kind of person I am looking for. For my power is made perfect in weakness. My grace is sufficient for you. The promise is not for the perfect, it is for the imperfect. It is not for the self-righteous, who stand tall in their own goodness. It is for the sinner, who beats his breast and cries out, God, have mercy on me, a sinner. That man, I tell you, went home justified. That woman, caught in the very act of adultery, whom the righteous wanted to stone, found in me no condemnation, only a gentle command to go and sin no more. This is the promise, not that you will never fall, but that when you fall, I will be there to lift you up. Not that you will never stray, but that when you stray, I will leave the 99 and come searching for you, and when I find you, I will rejoice and carry you home on my shoulders. This is the kind of God I am. This is the promise I have made. So do not be paralyzed by your past. It is forgiven. Do not be terrified of your future. It is secured. Live in the freedom of the promise today. Love boldly, for you are loved. Give generously, for you have been given everything. Forgive freely, for you have been forgiven an immeasurable debt. Let your life be a living testament to the promise, a love letter written not with ink, but with the Spirit of the living God, a letter that the world can read, and in reading, catch a glimpse of the hope that is within you. And when your days on this earth are finished, when your heart beats its last and your eyes close to this world, you will open them again in a world I have prepared for you. A world where the promise is finally and fully realized, a world with no more death, nor sorrow, nor crying, no more pain, for the former things have passed away. A world where you will know, even as you are known. A world where you will see my face, and in that light you will live and reign forever. This is not a fairy tale. It is not a myth, invented to comfort the dying. It is the most real thing there is. It is the reality continue for which with you deep seek were made. The shadows of this world will flee away, and you will stand in the brilliant, uncreated light of my presence, and you will hear, not just with your ears, but with your whole being, the words you have longed to hear since the moment you first felt the emptiness within. Well done, good and faithful servant. Enter into the joy of your Lord. That joy is me, and I am your promise, forever and ever,